Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in the world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayer's Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. Today we're going to go into Exodus 13, consecration of the firstborn. And yesterday, for those of you who missed out, we got into the technicalities of really what is a vital part of the foundation of Judaism. Because what's something you have to keep in mind when you're reading the Bible is the Old Testament essentially revolves around Judaism, the New Testament revolves around the creation and the implementation of Christianity. Judaism and Christianity do go hand in hand, even though a lot of people within both religions today don't seem to acknowledge it so much. It's almost as though people today act as though they are opposing religions rather than religions that go hand in hand, which is strange when you really think about it. But anyways, hello Gary, welcome. Welcome to today's Bible study, reading, commentary. And yesterday we finished up with the various plagues, the slaves of Egypt, the Hebrews. They are now pretty well. They're kind of out of Egypt, right? Right now we're still talking about things that revolved around that entire event as we go forward. But the Pharaoh has seen the error in his ways, in a sense, and he realized, okay, I can't let the people of Egypt continue to suffer because they just lost their firstborns. Everyone in Egypt, even their firstborn livestock, which was just kind of God really giving a low blow to the Egyptians. But don't forget, the Egyptians did kill off all the males at one point within the Hebrews, as soon as Pharaoh realized that one day a male Hebrew would rise up. Ironically, it turned out that the one male Hebrew that he allowed his daughter to adopt was the one who rose up. Yeah, Moses. So let's go ahead and continue. Consecration of the firstborn. And again, we have a lot of emphasis here put on the birth order of children. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Sanctify unto me all the firstborn of every womb among the children of Israel, both of man and of beast. It is mine. All right, so there's a lot of emphasis put on the firstborn. And it's interesting because today within cultures, um, there's still there's still a bit of preferential treatment put upon the firstborn, which unfortunately creates a lot of resentment when it comes to siblings who were born after the firstborn within families. A good example of that, the Prince Harry situation. I couldn't believe it when he came out with that book recently and he titled it Spare. His entire life, he saw himself as the spare to his older brother. Um, as privileged as that man is, that's how low of self esteem he has. A lot of times, firstborns are mistreated by their siblings within families. Um, that happens quite often. I'm a firstborn within my family. And what I've found coming across other firstborns in families, we do tend to be bullied by our younger siblings. We do tend to be the ones who make the choice to separate from the family at times when we're made into the scapegoats. Often, as the firstborn, the parents, they don't know what they're doing. And they treat the firstborn child more so as a peer than their child. They also put a lot of responsibility, sometimes justifiably, sometimes unjustifiably, upon the firstborn. And the firstborn, in many cases, if they have younger siblings, are robbed of their childhood in a sense because they have to take care of their younger siblings, often due to things that the parents get themselves into. Not always. Sometimes firstborns have wonderful childhoods and they're treated like little princesses or little princes. You never know. Luck of the draw when it comes to the parents, but a lot of emphasis in our society throughout time, various societies and various cultures are they put a lot of importance upon the firstborns. But even though from some people's perspectives the firstborns do get preferential treatments, if you walk in the shoes of a firstborn, you can feel like, I got the short end of the stick on this one. Exactly, Gary. The firstborns do not get babied. No. The firstborns do tend to be tougher and quite often do better in life because we do have to make the way for the younger ones. We also tend to be more so in leadership positions. We tend to, throughout our lives, adopt other people who need help or who are weaker because we are the older ones. We also tend to be more understanding when it comes to things. Um, but it is a difficult path for the firstborns. And often, if a parent is not a firstborn, they don't understand what their firstborn children go through. And you know what? We saw that in the story of Jacob, didn't we? Who later became Israel, renamed by God. Um, he gave preferential treatment to his youngest child, Joseph. His oldest was, who was it? It was Reuben. And even though he gave preferential treatment to the youngest wound up on a few occasions almost dying because the older siblings didn't like that preferential treatment. So I guess the lesson of today, because we have diverged a little bit from the Bible study, but it is commentary. But the lesson of today is do not give any children preferential treatment when you have multiple children. When you do it, you create resentment, you create problems. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Otherwise, if you have issues with that, only have one child. And if you still have issues with that, maybe you just shouldn't have children at all. Yeah, just my thoughts. But yeah, parents who are not the firstborn, they don't get it. They don't get it. All right, let's continue. The Feast of Unleavened Bread. And for those of you who don't know, unleavened bread is bread created without leavening agents, such as yeast. At this particular time, for some reason, God did not want this Hebrew group to have any yeast in their diet at this particular time. And ironically, today is Passover, and we're going over the details of Passover. I did not plan this, it's just synchronicity from when I started reading the Bible up until now. All right. Moses said to the people, "Remember this day in which you came out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand the Lord brought you out from this place. Nothing leavened shall be eaten. On this day you are going out, in the month of Aviv. It shall be when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep the ceremony of this month. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the seventh day shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and there shall be no leavened bread seen among you, nor shall there be any leaven seen among you and all your brothers. You shall declare that your son on that day, saying, this is done because of which the Lord did for me when I came forth out of Egypt. So again, right now, the Lord God, through Moses and Aaron, is teaching the Hebrews tradition. He's like, remember this time, remember this day. Teach it to your children. He's saying sons, but the daughters too. Sometimes the Bible likes to omit the daughters, but they are there. It's not just the land full of men. But he's creating tradition. He's creating religion. He's creating holidays. It shall be as a sign to you on your hand, and as a memorial on your forehead, in order that the Lord's law may be in your mouth. For with a strong hand the Lord brought you out of Egypt. You shall, therefore, keep this ordinance at its appointed time from year to year. So, again, a holiday. God has created religious holiday within the Hebrew people. Okay. The law of the firstborn. So now we're really going to get into the firstborn situations, technicalities, thoughts, ideologies, and whatnot. It shall be when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, just as he swore to you and your fathers, and shall give it to you, that you shall set apart to the Lord the first offspring of every womb, and the first offspring of every beast which you have. The males shall be the Lord's, but every first offspring of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb. And if you do not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. And all the firstborn of man among your sons you shall redeem. It shall be when your son asks you in time to come, saying, what is this? That you shall say to him, with a strong hand the Lord brought us out from Egypt, from the house of bondage. And when Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beasts. Therefore, I sacrifice to the Lord the first male offspring of every womb, but all the firstborn of my sons I redeem. It shall be as a sign on your hand and as frontlets on your forehead, for with a strong hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt. That's pretty intense. That's an intense practice there. Now we're going to go into the route of the Exodus. Now when Pharaoh had let the people go, God did not lead them through the way of the land of the Philistines, although it was nearby. For God said, lest the people change their minds when they see war, and they return to Egypt. Therefore God led the people around through the way of the wilderness to the Red Sea. And the children of Israel went up prepared for war out of the land of Egypt. So this is interesting. They could have gone one way to get away from Egypt, but God rerouted them a different way toward the Red Sea. And as we all know, who have seen the various depictions of this of the story of Exodus in movies and whatnot, we're approaching the time to where Moses does a miracle and parts the Red Sea. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had made the children of Israel solemnly swear, saying, God will surely attend to you, and you shall carry my bones away from here with you. They took their journey from Succoth and camped in Etham, on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they might travel by day and by night. He did not remove the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night from before the people. So God wasn't only giving them like a lighthouse or a guidepost as far as which way to go, but it sounds like he was also shielding them, giving them camouflage from enemies. A pillar of cloud, that could be a lot of things. It could mean a barrier of fog. It could be a literal cloud that they followed. Um, to all you ancient astronaut theorists out there, perhaps it was a UFO. And then a pillar of fire. Was that a wall of fire? Was that some sort of a gleaming vessel? What was going on? But tomorrow we will go into Exodus 14, the crossing of the Red Sea, probably one of the most famous events in the Bible. Yes. How was it done? We will never know. Only people who were there know. And they might not even know. But anyways, everyone have a wonderful day. I have got to get going. I have a lot to get done today. But I really am enjoying doing this daily Bible study, reading commentary with all of you. And I hope all of you are enjoying it too. We have quite a ways to go. Will we get through it all this year? Maybe, maybe not. Does it matter? No. No. Tomorrow's never promised, but the one thing we all have is nothing but time. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye.